y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Wrestling with Exotics, and I got my guy Nic Nemeth, also known as Dolph Ziggler, here with me.
Formerly known as, but still.
Really appreciate your time, man, taking this time out to holler at me. So let's get right into it. How did you get into wrestling personally?
Oh boy, my dad took me to a show when I was 5 years old. We sat in the cheapest seats imaginable. I saw people coming out to rock and roll music and then fighting in the ring, and afterwards I said, I want to do this. So at 5 years old, my dad signed me up for wrestling a few months later.
Wow.
I walked in the door and I said, where's the ring, where's the ropes, where's the steel chairs? And he goes, no, just mats.
Yeah.
You start here, and if somehow you get good enough, maybe one day you can get your foot in the door and become a professional wrestler. So I started at 5, went through grade school, high school, college, broke records in college, just so if they Googled my name, they would see Nic Nemeth, all-time winningest wrestler in Kent State history, and go, let me have a shot at a job. Give me a tryout.
You got the resume, like why wouldn't they? You know what I mean?
Right.
Are you still with TNA?
I'm with TNA and New Japan Pro Wrestling currently.
Awesome.
I am currently the New Japan IWGP Global Champion. I look forward to defending it very shortly. Hopefully my first defense will be against Tanahashi, because that's what I promise. And I look forward to fighting that legend, and it's going to be a blast. And with TNA, we have Rebellion pay-per-view at the Palms in Vegas. April 20th and 21st will be doing a TV taping. You guys had a great
show the last time around.
The last time was awesome. So we got to take it up a notch. This one's on me.
That was your debut.
I slid in at the end and made it a big deal for me to be there.
Yeah.
Now it's on me to deliver and become TNA World Champion in that match.
Man, I was really hyped for that pay-per-view. That was the first time I actually got to see you in person. Your hair was a little longer.
But, it's tied up behind there. It's fine.
What are you looking to accomplish in TNA?
Here's what I want to do.
Okay.
I want people who associate me with being awesome at wrestling,
which you
to
are.
associate me, it's going to take some time, with New Japan and TNA. So the more I get out there for TNA, I said, here's the deal. Here's where you can find us, on Access TV, on YouTube. If you join the TNA subscription service, the TNA Plus app, you name it, you can start seeing all these matches and shows, and
you can see all the throwback matches too on there.
Of course,
right?
they have all that stuff, all that footage for years, and there's so many guys that came out of there, Robert Roode, AJ Styles, and millions more.
Right.
But I love the fact that I can start associating with that brand, because I signed with TNA because I really like their behind-the-scenes business model for long-term storytelling and booking, and putting it out there with one of the greatest rosters ever. Every wrestling company has an awesome roster, and that's saying something. And when you have one that sticks out like so close, is so friendly, and all rooting for each other on the same team, and then going out to beat each other up in the ring, I live for that. I love that stuff. And so far, I haven't let them down, and they have not let me down in any way, shape, or form. So I just want to get my name out there and start having it associated with New Japan and TNA. And if you think of TNA, it's not just AJ Styles, not just Moose, it's not just Jordan Grace. You start thinking of the wanted man, Nic Nemeth, and now you go, maybe I can take my last 19 years and use it to have just a little bit of influence on bringing a couple more eyeballs to the TNA show. And if that happens, then I'm truly doing my job.
Hell yeah, man. I really agree with that signing. That was a great decision that you made. How was it working in NXT?
NXT was awesome. I famously do not watch wrestling because I hated what I was doing for the last 5, 10, 15, whatever years.
Yeah.
It's kind of a joke, but I also was like, I don't know who these people are. I don't watch wrestling. So then I started in the last year or two focusing on watching Japanese style wrestling, watching Tanahashi, watching New Japan stuff, watch some up-and-comers, watching NXT. And then when I got sent to NXT, they said, listen, we'd love for you to work with Steiner.
Man.
He's a good kid. We'll do a couple of weeks. You'll make it really fun, and people are excited to see. I go, that's freaking awesome. I go, yeah, I'm in, 100%.
Yeah.
And we ended up, because it was going so well, we extended it a few weeks and made it even longer with one more title defense, just because it was such a good time, and I was so happy. It was clicking, and I was happy to be given back to a kid who's this close to having it all figured out, this close to being this unstoppable monster on the main roster. And I hope that I have 1% of the influence to help him get that much better when it comes down to listening to the crowd, responding and reacting, and not just being an explosive athlete that's awesome. Right. So hopefully I had a 1% help on him, and one day he's going to be something extra special, more than he is now.
Man, yeah.
And I'm so glad that I got that opportunity to go do that.
Yeah, I was really hyped seeing you achieve to be the NXT champion, man. That was a really dope moment, you know? Didn't take that for granted.
Nobody saw it coming.
No, definitely.
And wrestling it's not the biggest surprise in wrestling. It wasn't, but when wrestling has so many things with behind the curtain and we know what's going on and we know the inside scoop, when you don't know something and you get to watch it unfold and it surprises you, that's one of the coolest things that happens in wrestling. Like, oh, like that.
That made
we
NXT
all know
exciting.
the deal. We all know what's going on.
Right.
And then you still jump up and go, wait, what? You know, I love those moments. I live for the business lives for it, I hope.
Yeah, definitely, man. I always talk about this a lot on my show. Do you think NXT should transition into like a main roster type of show? Because the
What do you
talent
mean
there,
by that?
I mean,
Because they have a TV show. They have their own main roster that you have to get on.
Nobody looks at NXT as the main roster. They look at it more as developmental, you know.
Well,
But I feel like
because it is.
Right, it is. But at the same time, you know, you look at some of the talent that's there and you think like, man, maybe this should be, you know, an actual main roster, and especially if you get big names like yourself coming down there.
Sure.
Like, you know, Shinsuke Nakamura. You
Right.
get, like,
I'm saying now that opened the floodgates.
yeah,
you
you
never
know,
who's going to show up.
Right, so do you think it's time for that transition into being legit?
I don't think so. I think what you have now is a TV show that everybody can watch on cable. Which
Yeah.
that's huge enough.
Sean is doing a great job.
Yeah, and when you have that, and you know, like, man, you're gonna get some surprises. You're gonna get some well-earned. You get some people who are wrestling for 20 years having matches.
Right.
But when the mainstay is, here is what this niche audience is. We love seeing the up-and-comers before they're the biggest thing in the world. So it's almost like, oh, you like Weezer? I liked them before they had their first album out. You get a chance to see, like, wrestlers doing the comedian's version of an open mic night and honing their skills. And there might be a couple of killers,
Right.
but they're not 100% all the time killers. So that's the difference in training to become a TV show. While having a TV show, you're becoming a famous wrestling superstar household name while learning. I think it should be, that's exactly where it is. It should always evolve,
Right.
but I don't think it should be taken as a main roster TV show because it's not.
Right.
We're all learning, and we're all learning every day. I've been doing this for 20 years. I'm learning something every day.
Yeah.
But when you're new to this and you're fighting for a roster spot on that show, that is the show. You know what I mean? We get
Right.
to watch those up and comers, and then a couple people behind, you know, Shinsuke Nakamura or Ali or
Samoa
myself.
Joe.
Anybody just walks in and you go, whoa! You still get that moment, but it's also you still go, oh, I saw him, but I also saw this 19-year-old kid who had his second match, and holy cow, is that cool? And like, I like having that. I don't want every roster to be full-on 20-year vets. It should be, hey, this is a special show.
Yeah, no,
Because they're still
seriously.
learning, and they're awesome at it, and they're still learning.
Yeah. Thank you for giving me that new outlook on that.
Yeah.
What's the biggest obstacle you faced working in Japan so far?
I've been very fortunate so far.
Man, winning championships, not
Yeah.
too bad.
One match, and so them having the confidence in me,
Right.
because of the equity that's been built for 19 years in myself.
Okay.
They gave me an opportunity, and I didn't go out and stink it up. So that is day one, and I go every day I want to be better. I want to take that IWGP Global Championship. I want to take it around the world,
Yeah.
independent shows, companies, you name it, and I want to go watch this match and see if anyone can follow this, and I'm going to defend this everywhere. So they've given me this opportunity to do this. I'm looking forward to it more than anything, and we're just getting started. So
That's
I
really
love
dope.
it, man. I get like, I'm all worked up. Like,
Man.
I've been sitting around at home, and I go, I'm dying to do these matches with some of the greatest of all time, and now I'm about to have the opportunity to do so, and I promise you, I'm a workaholic who doesn't
I can
sleep.
tell, bro.
I can't let it go. I can't get a 9.9 out of 10 performance.
Definitely.
I am getting a 10 out of 10 every
Five-star
time.
match every
And if I
time.
don't, that's on me, not the show.
Right. Okay, so how do you prepare for these matches, man?
It's different. I was for 19 years, I knew a roster. I knew all their moves. I knew their names. I knew if they had a sore shoulder or a bad knee or what they'd done the week before.
Yeah.
When it comes to going to different companies, even TNA, independent shows, or New Japan, I have to figure out, what is this guy's moveset? We've never been in the ring before. Maybe when a clothesline happens, this guy takes an extra step that I don't know about, and you have to work that out. And the only way to work that out is in the ring.
In the ring.
And sometimes, much like when you're watching NXT, like there's a chance we're not two 10 out of 10 legends going at, and we know each other. We're feeling each other out in real life.
Right.
And there could be some mishaps, there could be some botches, there could be somebody getting hurt, there could be something happening. But that's the excitement of it, going, not knowing what's going to happen, but going, if I bring all my expertise to this, there's no reason it should not be an A+.
That part, man. Do you listen to any music before you warm up before a match?
No.
Like before you go out there?
No. I focus, I'm psychotic. I focus only on going over possibilities for the match. It might sound weird, but there's a reason I'm the guy who's always out there. It is like, hey, what if I get injured here? What if my shoulder comes out of place? What if this doesn't work? What if this doesn't work? I know he can counter this with this. Can he counter it with this, this, and this? And I'm just focusing on a game plan, figuring out how everything can fall together, and knowing like to have different options on every play on my quarterback sleeve, but I got it up here.
That's really smart. That's really smart. I've never heard that before. What do you like to do for fun outside of wrestling?
Read in my backyard in absolute silence. I love it. I'm a Chuck Palahniuk fan.
Okay.
I read all of his books. They are weird and gross and smart and sexy and insane and disgustingly horrific, and they're absolutely beautiful. I'm such a fan, so I read that, and also I mix it up. I read Mad Magazine also by my pool. That's one of my favorite things to do.
That's awesome, man. Who would you say your favorite wrestler of all time is?
I would say Kurt Hennig, Ric Flair, and I'm trying to think of somebody young and new now. Kurt Hennig, Ric Flair.
Will Ospreay.
It's got to be someone that I was in the ring with once already, though.
Cody.
He's
He's
okay.
got a big story to finish today.
He's got a story. But it's got to be someone who's, I'm trying to think of someone in my situation, 20 years in, that's still going.
Maybe Roman. Close to 20. He's like 15.
Is he really
right?
going on 20? No way.
He's been in there for a minute, man.
Let's say Kurt Hennig and Ric Flair and Sherry Martel.
There you go.
Let's say that.
Yeah, you cannot go wrong with that.
She's, I grew up calling her Scary Sherry, and then later when you get in the business, you figure out all the things in a tough enough to get by and make it as a singles wrestler, as a man, let alone her being in there and hearing the coolest stories that she was so tough and so cool and could do it all. I love hearing that. So those are my three for now.
Who would you consider to be the GOAT of wrestling then?
Greatest of all time.
Greatest of all time.
Who do you think?
John Cena.
That's a good pick.
He's all of his 16 world title reigns.
Yeah.
No help, no faction. Like Roman has the Usos coming in with all the
Right.
matches and stuff. You can legitimately say that is the greatest of all time.
Well, if we're taking it as a legitimate sport, sure.
Yes.
Is it?
No.
Thank you.
Right.
That's a good call, though. I like that.
But wrestler, I would
Yeah.
say Kurt Angle. I would say him.
Angle is one of my
a
favorite of all
monster.
time. He's a hero of mine. The reason I got a tryout with WWE is because Kurt Angle was doing so well and picking it up so well as an amateur wrestler that they gave a small 5'11", 190-pound guy a shot. So let's say Kurt Angle, I love that call. He's one of my absolute favorites. And I got to be in the ring with him, and I was so fortunate, just for a few minutes, but it was awesome.
In a legit wrestling match, who you got, you or Kurt?
Kurt would crush anybody and everybody. He could be asleep and 90 years old, and I just know that he could take us all down, and that's actually really awesome, by the way.
If you could wrestle anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
Nick Bockwinkel.
Yeah?
Yes. So I used to watch, I think it's AWA, Nick Bockwinkel and a young Kurt Hennig.
Okay.
And Bockwinkel was the veteran and the champion, and those guys had some very, not just awesome and smart, good and entertaining wrestling matches. Kurt had that background of being able to amateur wrestle, and you saw that actually come out, like legitimate, like cradles and tilts and different things. You're like, I do that. That's so cool. So it was something as a kid I could relate to amateur wrestling. Like I love it, and also he's fantastic. So
That's what's up.
Yeah.
How'd you come up with the show-off persona? You know the. Oh, where did that come
just
from?
gotta feel it out. A lot of times, a lot of stuff that happened organically is me being angry at my job, and then coming out and going, you know what, and it just turned into like embracing it. But show off was something I legitimately went to the boss, and we were talking ideas, and I'm like, I could do this, I could do this, I could friggin' do anything. I'm a Renaissance man, you name it. And then I said, but I'm someone who's so addicted to everyone looking at me. I always have to put on a show or be showing off or something. And he goes, that's it. And I go, show off. Show off. The nickname sounds dumb, but I liked what it was behind. It was like, I always have to be on. I always have to be 10 out of 10. I always got to be stealing the show. And I go, okay, that applies. So that's where that came from. But all the mannerisms and things were just me being mad at work, probably.
That name really stuck, bro.
Yeah,
it still sticks today. That's a great name. So, I gotta ask for my fans. I'm popular, but how is it working with Vicky Guerrero?
Fantastic. She's an absolute sweetheart.
Yeah.
She loved being involved in the business. She's been involved in the business for, who knows, 40, 50 years, I don't know how many years. And she was so sweet and so kind, but also embraced her character, and we had so much fun with it. I love her. She rocks. I have nothing but the most positive things to say about her.
That's really dope. I love to hear that, man. Shout out Vicky. Excuse me. So, you're really great at cutting promos. I've always noticed that. You might not think that, but I think that for sure.
Of course I think that.
That's awesome. Okay, all right. Thank you. So, what is the key to cutting a great promo?
The key, without me having a list written down, the first thing that pops in my head, grabbing attention right away, but also bringing them in. There's the Ric Flair version of Shavani! And then there's the Jake the Snake version of, you have to listen to my words so closely right now and lean over, because I'm not going to yell. But you find that up and down of, you bring people in, you get them drawn in, you relate to them with a story, an anecdote, just a name, a situation that's happened, and at the end of the day, you got to get all the things into. I got to be at this stadium, at this time, at this match, and this thing, and you and me, and your moniker. But the most important part is getting everyone drawn in and standing out. Even if you're an awesome promo, if you just go right like this and you're constantly yelling the whole time and it's straight the whole way, there's no up and down, there's no story even being told with the sounds of your voice. But if you go, you know, I'm really thinking about this match tonight, and it's eating me alive, and everyone goes, whoop, you go, but I have to fight that power off and focus so I don't lose my calm, because when I get out there, I will rip him in half. So this Sunday, you're going down, brother, or whatever, and you do the pose and you walk off.
Yeah,
but
man.
have those ups and downs, even just with the octaves in your voice, that make me listen, because if you just do whisper all the way through, or yell all the way through, or just stay the same way, it's like flat. Yeah, flat line.
Man, that's really great advice, bro. What's something that you've learned from Rick, Dusty, and Sean? You can say collectively or individually.
To be a little selfish, and I still am not, and it's an issue I have, but being selfish. I always want to give back to my opponent and help them and help the match, because I think I'm helping the show, because I think long term I'm helping the business and the locker room. But sometimes you got to go, no, I can't help you this time. This was sink or swim for you. I have to take over. And it's an issue I have, because I always just want to give back, but it's part of the deal.
Man, that's all right.
I gotta go to the airport.
Oh, no, yeah, you're
One more. What do you got?
One last one. Is there any upcoming events or matches that you'd like to promote?
Oh, absolutely. April 20th and 21st, TNA will be at the Palms in Vegas for our huge Rebellion pay-per-view. I have a world title shot, and then we'll also be doing a TV taping the next day, and I will be there the entire week building up, doing all the PR, saying that I want to be the face of TNA, and I want people to associate New Japan TNA with me and defending my title, whichever one it is, and going, this is the guy and this is the place to see it. Because when you get your eyes on me, and remember, you're going to see this roster crushing it. We love it. In the back, we're a team and a family, and in the ring, we beat the hell out of each other. It is the perfect mix.
I really appreciate your time, man. I know you got to get to the airport. You say you're going to give me 5. You gave me more than that. Yeah. Nothing but respect, man. Thank you for everything you've done and continue to do in wrestling. Thank you.
You got it, man.
Thank you.